It's the Players Lounge. It's the Players Lounge. It's the Players Lounge. It's the Players Lounge with host Shaune Holiday.
What's going on, everybody, man? Hope you're having a blessed day. Welcome to the Players Lounge today. Today's a special day. You know, everybody's been talking about the transfer portal and all of the stuff with football, but there is another big sport here I know everybody in Oxford and in Ole Miss Nation is getting ready for, and that's Ole Miss baseball. And I'm blessed today to be joined by Coach Carl Lafferty, and we're going to talk about the upcoming season. We're going to talk about how the transfer portal affects baseball and the recruiting here at Ole Miss. So I'm just going to jump right in, Coach. Now that you do have the transfer portal, I remember when you and I first met, basically your summer home was in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, it was. I can remember at times having an Airbnb over there for several weeks, and you mentioned that, and it's crazy. You know, I think every sport across across college athletics has their own individual story as it relates to the portal and the changing landscape of recruiting. And certainly baseball is no different. We used to spend 3 and 4 weeks at a time staying in hotels or Airbnbs, following high school kids around in Atlanta. Now, you know, you're kind of planning on campus, being a tour guide, and actually looking at, you know, Synergy and True Media and doing evals on video about, you know, college kids in the portal. Yeah. So it's certainly a different dynamic.
You know, I remember when there was a time, like I say, about 5 years ago, when you and I would talk on the phone about high school kids, and I'm not just talking about high school kids, I'm talking about 9th and 10th grade kids.
Yes.
About what do we got to do in this and that, but now when you look at it, that part of baseball is gone. You don't see the early commits like that anymore. How hard is it now, Coach, for a high school kid to come in and be able to sign with somewhere like Ole Miss, considering they're competing against guys that have already been playing college baseball?
No, it is more difficult, and it's more difficult for several reasons. First off, the portal, the ability to acquire older players, you know, throughout the course of each year, having a window to do that, but also the roster change. Now we're at a 34-man roster, so you're looking at a more limited roster than what we've had in years past. So not only have you taken away spots, but you've also given us the opportunity to, you know, acquire older players at that one window in time. And, you know, I think a great example of it, what you see today, you know, just with college football and everybody talking about Indiana competing for a national championship and the average age of their roster. So certainly I think it's important. You don't want to be young, so to speak. But like, you know, for us in particular, we always want high school kids. And so there's always going to be that element, but I think you're just going to see a difference in the size of high school classes kind of across the board.
And, you know, I remember, I'm finna go way back. 1989, I believe it was, or maybe 1990. My high school team came here to play. Me and the bazooka from Iuka, Richie. We came here to play. Ole Miss was recruiting us, Coach Kessinger, and we played over in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Over by the where the pavilion is now.
Yes.
That's where the baseball field was. Now, though, when a kid comes here now, Coach, and they see these nationally recognized facilities that we have here, that's got to make recruiting a lot easier.
Certainly. And if you walked into our locker room today and you went and looked at the nameplates all through the locker room, certainly we have some kids from Mississippi, because it's always important to recruit our state. But we have kids all over. It's a national brand, and that's a credit to Mike Bianco and the program he built, the players that have come along and won games like yourself, like Richie. I mean, even going all the way back to y'all's teams that were in regionals at Florida State and when I got here. And so you've created a brand and an awareness across the country, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find the best players out there to help us win another national championship.
You know, I'm going to go back a little bit. We were talking, you know, about 5 years ago. Let's talk about the national championship team.
Yeah.
It was loaded with Mississippi guys.
Yeah.
Riley Maddox, Mason Nichols, Hunter Elliott. That's just to name a few.
Hayden Dunhurst. Yeah.
You know, and that's one thing I've always, being a former baseball player here, I've always taken pride in the fact that a lot of our key players have come from the state of Mississippi.
Absolutely.
And that's huge.
No, and that's what you want. You want people that grew up and like me, where I'm so fortunate is I'm coaching at my alma mater. So I've always told people this job is personal. It's not just a profession and something I do. It matters to me. And so there are kids that, you know, certainly grow up like a Hunter Elliott, that's in close proximity, that's an Ole Miss fan, that bleeds red and blue.
Yes.
And the cool thing about that, though, is being able to go recruit nationally. You can pull guys in like the Doug Nikazis and Lance Lenz, who, you know, Lance just retires from, you know, professional baseball, but he's in the Hall of Fame here and loves Ole Miss baseball. He's texting me in an inter-squad game 2 days ago just to find out how the boys are doing.
Wow.
And so I think that talks about the uniqueness and the experience that these kids have once they get here.
Yeah.
But going back to recruiting the state, it's absolutely important. Like, I think there's a lot of things that, you know, people go, well, why don't you have a team full of Ole Miss or Mississippi guys? And the reason I explain that that's really just not possible is the sheer population size of the state of Mississippi.
Yeah.
What people don't realize is they go, hey, well, Florida's a great state for high school baseball, and Texas is a great state for high school baseball. California is a great state for high school baseball. And the reason for it is it's a massive population in those states. It's warm weather, and there's a lot of baseball played. When you start looking at the actual size and scope of Mississippi, there's just not that many human beings here.
Yes.
So we're always going to get the best talent in our state. That's got to be first and foremost. And then outside of that, we've got to go across the country to find the best players to help us win.
And I think I say this all the time to people, Ole Miss has become a national brand.
For sure.
It has become a national brand. If you look at our football team, our baseball team, basketball, it is track and field, everything now, you see Ole Miss everywhere. And you know, when I drive a lot of people all over the place, and they talk about coming here for the atmosphere, for the game day feel. You know, I saw a statistic the other day, I believe we have the second largest on-campus stadium in the country.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I know that other school has got a pretty nice stadium. I'm not knocking it. I get it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is. It's one of a kind. But there's nowhere like Swayze on an SEC weekend.
Nowhere.
Coach, what is that atmosphere? Being a former player here, and when you step out of that tunnel to come get ready for that game, what's that atmosphere feel like on the SEC weekend?
It's electric. You know, I think Mike Clement, our third base coach, of course, he came here from Kansas State, and he had been at Texas A&M at one time. And the way he describes it to recruits, I think it's really cool. It's a college football atmosphere inside a college baseball stadium.
Wow.
And that's the neat thing. And, you know, certainly when people talk about, hey, you know, you recruit for Ole Miss, what do you sell? I think in any endeavor in life, it's the people that make the difference. And the people we feel like in our building, as far as our coaching staff, as far as our administration, but then also the fans that show up. I mean, there's so many stories that I have for recruiting kids that go, hey, man, your marketing team puts out the season or whatever. We saw it. We just had to take a visit down here and see a game when I was 10 years old. And then they described the interaction that they have with the fans in our stadium. Yeah. That's really cool for me. And so it's something that's just continued to build upon itself. Certainly, you know, Mike and our administration and our staff have had a huge hand in it. But the fans that show up and make each and every game day unique, they have a huge value and a huge stake in moving the needle for us and getting players and making this place really hard for opposing teams to play.
And that's one thing I'll say about this year and years past. The fan support at the University of Mississippi, to me, is like no other.
No doubt.
It's like no other.
No doubt.
And now, you know, you were talking about the people in the building. And I want to commend you guys. Coach Bianco, Coach Clem, yourself. You guys are the three that have been here the longest. And to keep that continuity, that speaks volumes to recruits too. That lets them know, in my opinion, oh, you ain't got to worry about a coach leaving. We're here for the long haul. And I think that's why you guys get some of the players you get, Coach.
I would agree. You know, the cool thing is, from starting off with the administration, they're giving us the tools and resources to compete at a national level, which is huge. So you feel supported. You feel supported by the community and the fan base. And then, when you just talk about our dynamic as a staff, certainly I played for Mike. Mike Clement is, he's a coworker, but he's become one of my best friends and an awesome person. And I think when you look at it, I think internally, if you ask each of us, the quality of your life is really your day-to-day activities. And so, again, while our job consumes a lot of hours away from family, the people that we're doing it with and that we're spending with are awesome human beings who we have a ton of respect and a lot of care for. And so I think that's when you find something like that, I'm not going to put words in their mouth, but I know certainly speaking for me, it holds a ton of value.
Yeah. All right. We've talked about the atmosphere. We've talked about the coaches in the building. Now let's talk about them dudes we got coming back. Hey, and it all starts with a young man that I've known since he was 9 years old. And we knew that man was special when he was 9 years old.
Yep.
Hunter Elliott. Coach.
He's the man. The thing they tell coaches all the time, if you have good players, it makes you look like a good coach.
Yeah.
And certainly he's done that. And I think there's some guys that in my mind since I've been here that are really special to me personally. But guys that fans favorite from as recent as the Doug Nikazes and the Tim Elkos, to the Lance Lynn's and the Drew Pomerances, and the fan cliche speak of, hey, who's on your Mount Rushmore of Ole Miss baseball players? Well, I think there's a real argument that Hunter
Elliott's the first guy on that Mount Rushmore.
He should be on that Mount Rushmore. He's been so consistent. He's won a national championship, and when I say won a national championship,
as a freshman.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm talking about he pulled more than his weight. He was the man, and so I think that the people outside the building see this good kid, this polished kid. That's like if you're raising a son, you hope just the characteristics from work ethic, personality, and all that, they trend that way, and your kid emulates that. But from the coaching side, what you see is the definition of competitor, the definition of a pro, and how hard he works, and his diligence and his strive to be great. And certainly it starts there, not only with the performance and the skill, but just what he brings to that locker room and the way he goes about his business. And it affects everyone else. So,
when I say this, I've been blessed to know Hunter as a coach with a personal relationship off the field.
Sure.
Great young man, but he's always had that killer instinct.
Yes.
He's always been that kid that says, give me the ball, I'm going to win you this game.
That's right.
And if I would hate to be that dude in the box.
No doubt. I mean, it's that way in anything he does, and that's what makes him really unique. It's hard, like as a recruiter and as a coach, you're trying to figure out your players, and you just don't know till you put them out there and the other people in the other uniforms show up to really find out.
Yep.
And that's what makes him, truly unique.
So we know we've got Hunter coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Austin's coming back.
Yep.
So those are two guys that we need together.
Sure.
The pitcher and the catcher.
No doubt.
Now, tell me about who else we got coming back, Coach.
Well,
just give us a preview of what to look for when we come to a game.
Well, I think
on
one of the most dynamic players in the Southeastern Conference is Judd Utermark. He can defend anywhere on the field. He's a freak of nature, 6'5", 6'6".
He's huge.
He can run a 6'4". He hit 20-something homers. He is a dynamic leader and just a force. I think you're going to see him, one of the more polished hitters in the league, who has a pedigree, and the fans obviously here know him, and Will Furness. I think he's poised to have a great year offensively. An exciting young player in Hayden Federico, who was all freshman SEC. Looks like he's making a push and transitioning to the outfield and going to be able to hold it down the center field for us. Moving back to the pitching side of it, I think another guy that's returning, there's a couple guys that you saw them in roles last year, but I think you're going to see them become more prominent. First one's Kay Townsend. The stuff's electric. He's got as good as stuff as anybody in the country. Landon Waters is another kid that's made a real step forward. I think he's going to have a huge impact. Hudson Calhoun, the same way. A Tupelo kid. He has really made a step forward where he's going to be a dude. So there's a lot of familiar faces, a lot of guys with experience, and then some exciting newcomers that I think are going to, push and make an impact that, people knew from the transfer portal, like Dom Decker, who was here with Murray State. Yeah. I mean, he is just a tremendous baseball player that I think is going to fit in nicely on the dirt for us. Tristan Becerra, Daniel Basella, power hitting corner outfielders. Will Libert, left-handed arm that's transferred in from Missouri. Premium stuff up to 97, 98. Landon Koenig's another transfer. Owen Kelly. There's some exciting new guys that are going to be here, and then some freshmen. I look at Noah Allen, who's a freshman from Georgia, who's going to have a chance to contribute. Grayson Gibson, who comes from a powerhouse, same high school as Justin Bench, down in Tampa, Florida, is going to contribute. There's going to be, in Cannon Golden, who's a dynamic outfielder, had a tremendous fall, is going to contribute. So we're excited about all those kids. I think it's going to be a fun team to watch. They're going to have a great personality, and we've got a, just like every year, it's going to be a great SEC schedule. We've got some good home weekends here to get excited about. So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. So when is the official first game?
February 13th. We'll kick off against Nevada here at home. I think it's a 4 o'clock first pitch on that Friday, and then we'll hit the ground running.
Well, there it is, February the 13th. Let's pack Swayze out. Everybody come out. Put your powder blue on, put your red on, whatever color you want to wear. But let's come out and let's support our baseball rebels. We know it's going to be another great year. Let's let everybody know this is the best baseball stadium and baseball team in the country. And we know that. We've been knowing that for years. Coach, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for giving us a little preview of what's to expect. Look forward to another great year. Can't wait for it, brother.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Hey, remember, God loves you and so do I. Hotty toddy.
Howdy toddy.